See, the challenge to building confidence is that there's often a negative history that we're working against. Proactively look for the positive. The only way you'll build trust in yourself that you can be confident is if you start to loosen up around, I don't know how things are going to go. Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. Hey, it's your mentor, Julia, and we're here to talk about how you can trust yourself more and trust specifically that you'll be more confident when you're under pressure. I'm coming at this topic today with the intention to set you up for even more success with your speaking and your communication this year than you had last year. Because confidence is something that's built over time through repetition, through experience, and through reinforcement of the things that are working well. Can you imagine what would be possible for you by the end of the year if you had built up the confidence and belief in yourself that you go into situations where there's pressure, where it's high stakes, where in the past you've been nervous or anxious or panicky, and you now can trust yourself to be calm, confident, centered, at ease, comfortable in your own skin? What would be possible for you if you had that trust in yourself? A lot of the women that I work with will say, well, then I think I'd be a natural fit for that promotion that I want. I think that I would take on more opportunities to be visible. My business would grow. I would get more clients. I would feel better and have a lot more energy. Whatever it is for you, hold that vision for yourself today, now, as you listen to this episode, so that you know how to consciously, purposefully build that future for yourself, starting now into the year of 2025. Let's go. See, the challenge to building confidence, whether it's personal confidence or speaking confidence, is that there's often a negative history that we're working against, which means that there's things that have happened in the past that left an impression, or we could say a scar, and that now in the present moment, you reference those things, those moments, those feelings in order to set yourself up for how you're going to feel and how you're going to be and how things are going to go in that next moment you're heading into. Now that was very broad. Let's make it more specific. And let's make it very simple and relatable. Growing up, my mom always had eggnog at Christmas. Christmas morning, she had to have a cup of eggnog while we opened presents. I remember being young, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, taking a sip of that eggnog because, I was curious, and hating it. I thought it was disgusting. Oh my God, how can you drink that? Every Christmas since then, when my mom has her eggnog, what's my response? Ew, gosh, how can you drink that? Everybody knows I don't like eggnog. This past Christmas, which was, just a few weeks ago, I was in the grocery store. My parents were visiting us this Christmas, so I felt responsible for, filling the refrigerator with everything that they would like. I'm in the grocery store. I see this organic, fancy eggnog. And I'm like, all right, I got to get this for my mom because I know she loves it. So I get the eggnog, put it in the fridge. Here we are, Christmas morning. Mom, would you like some eggnog? Of course, she wants it. Get the little nutmeg on top. And my husband tries it. My husband says, I would like a glass of that. Ooh, this is new. We're shaking up the routines. I didn't know that he liked it. So I said, well, let me try it. And I took a sip of his glass. And what do you know? Me, adult Julia, What is this? 30 years later, I like eggnog. It tastes good. All those years of having a negative impression of this drink built up a belief in my mind, an expectation that it's something that I don't like, that's not for me, that's going to have a bad reaction for me. Now, what is it for you? Maybe it's about that meeting, that meeting where you're going to have to lead or take the lead for a short period of time. And in the past, over and over again, it's happened several times now, you've blanked out, you felt panicky, you sweat like crazy, you flush bright red, everybody can see, whatever it is, you have that uncomfortable reaction to this particular activity. So it's reasonable to expect, our mind naturally goes there, to expect a negative experience going forward, right? In the next meeting, it's reasonable to expect it's going to be the same. And so then there starts to be that buildup of resistance. Oh, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to have to interact with this thing that's uncomfortable. That actually makes a lot of sense. It's very reasonable. It's logical because it's self-preservation, right? This is your brain trying to keep you safe. This is your body trying to keep you safe, away from things that are uncomfortable and potentially threaten your safety. This is where the anxiety starts to build as a habit as well. Because anxiety, as a definition, I talk about this in a lot of my podcasts, anxiety is a fear of the hypothetical future. But that fear of the hypothetical future is based on some very concrete, real things that happened in the past. So your anxiety is a fear of the hypothetical future because you're referencing things that have happened in the past within your mind. And you're projecting those things into the future. Let's set a baseline. We don't know at all. There's no way to know what the future is going to be like. That in and of itself feels very unsafe, right? I don't know what the future is going to hold. Feels very unsafe. And so the nervous system's first response is to try to create safety by pulling up images of the past, of how these kinds of moments have gone. Also, our primal brain specifically references any kind of negative emotional experience, again, to make ourselves safe. So we won't tend to remember the positive things as much as we'll remember the negative things, the things that didn't go well, that didn't feel good. Think about how you are in your romantic relationships. I think this is really obvious, like with my husband. It's really easy to see all the things they're doing wrong, right? It's the first thing you see, and it's the things that you remember. But sometimes it takes like looking back at some photos from the wedding or from a trip to remember there was a lot of good moments, like neutral moments and happy moments and light moments and super joyous moments. There were so many other moments, but what do we often remember and fear? The ones that didn't feel so good. And this also happens with us towards ourselves, with me towards me. I look in the mirror, it's natural for me to see all the things that I don't like about how I look. Or I do a presentation and it's really easy for my mind to call out all the things I did wrong, all the things I could have done better. How do we get to the point where you're willing to taste the eggnog again and willing to be open to liking it? Having a new experience of that old thing that left a bad impression. What I'm saying is, how do we rewire our nervous system, our neural pathways to have a new relationship with speaking and with high stakes, pressureful moments? Okay, I want to give you 3 very concrete ways that you can do this. And I hope it helps you set yourself up for great success with your career and with your personal growth this year. Number 1, proactively look for the positive. I talk about this a lot with my clients because I teach a feedback technique in my programs for people to do towards themselves, towards each other when they're in group programs, and for me to do for them when they give feedback. A feedback is a really big part of growing as a speaker. You can't get better if you don't receive feedback, and feedback is often given in such a poor way to ourselves that, again, we're so self-critical of ourselves. But then also, maybe you receive feedback from a colleague at work or your boss in your yearly review about your speaking. And often the feedback is something like, you just need to speak up more. You need to be more confident. It's very vague. And it can touch on more who you are as a person versus the specific actions and behavior you're doing. When feedback is specific, it's helpful, it's constructive, it supports growth and building a new positive history. So let's talk about how to give yourself feedback, and therefore that'll be also how to give others feedback so you can support them, which is a nice thing. So you're going to look for the positive, which means that you're going to give yourself feedback that's 75% positive and just 25% constructive. Let me break that down. This is 75-25 feedback. 75% positive. If you give yourself 4 pieces of feedback, 3 of them are going to be positive, which means you're going to notice 3 specific things that you did really well. My eye contact was strong. I sounded like I knew what I was talking about. I didn't go too fast. My pacing was really calm and steady. Notice how specific these 3 pieces of feedback are. It's not like I did a good job. It's good enough. And it's also not about the content specifically. It's more about the presentation of the content. So 3 pieces of positive, specific feedback for yourself. And then that 4th piece of feedback, the 25%, is constructive. It's not negative. Like, you look like an idiot. That's not good constructive feedback. What would be really useful, supportive, constructive feedback? Use your hands more. See if you can speak in shorter, complete sentences. Add in more details, stories, or supporting evidence. Again, notice how specific and actionable this feedback is. It's not about you as a person. It's not saying you did anything wrong. It's taking what you just did, who you are, how things were, and adding to it, which is really all we can do as we go forward in life. A bonus to the 3 steps that we're going to go through now. The bonus here is the mindset that's underneath all of them. And that mindset is to embrace the unknown. The only way you'll build trust in yourself that you can be confident is if you start to loosen up around, I don't know how things are going to go, the future, right? Embracing the unknown. And this starts with how you give yourself feedback, that you look for the positive, which can be hard, right? To actually find 3 things that you think you did well. Like, it can be like pulling teeth in our minds, but you'll get better at it the more you do it. It's like a mental game that your muscles get stronger the more you do it. And then you only give yourself constructive feedback that you can actually act on. You're not going to beat yourself up. This is your way of embracing the unknown and giving yourself control, because you know what to do more of. You're going to do more of what you told yourself you're doing well. Just keep doing it. And you're going to work on actively doing more of the things that you want to get better at. Okay, so the first step is to look for the positive. And then the second thing, they go very hand in hand, is take time. It can be 15 seconds, 30 seconds to visualize the positive. Say you have a talk coming up tomorrow. You know that you're going to do your presentation for the team, updating them on what you've been working on. Instead of spending hours and hours and hours tweaking every little detail of your PowerPoint presentation and writing out everything you want to say in the notes and reading it over and over, it might be more beneficial to your confidence to take a moment to visualize yourself giving the presentation and that everything goes well. See yourself flowing through that presentation. See yourself engaged and engaging. See the audience responding positively. See it going well. See yourself feeling confident. And do this as many times as it would be helpful. Whenever you feel nervous, just, okay, going to tap into that visualization. I'm going to remember that I can choose to be confident, that I could choose to like the eggnog, or the eggnog might not be bad this time. Wow, you're going to be thinking about eggnog in your next presentation. Okay, so you're going to look for the positive, visualize the positive, and then the last one's really important. Number 3, there you are about to go into the meeting. There you are in the middle of your presentation. Act as if. Act as if you are the confident communicator that you want to be this year. You already are. This is also called fake it till you become it, which is, I'm totally stealing that from Amy Cuddy, I believe. If you don't know Amy Cuddy, look her up. She has an amazing TED Talk and a bunch of other amazing things. Fake it until you become it. And this isn't like putting on a show or being somebody that you're not. It comes from the belief that you already have the confidence that you want within you. All you're doing is simply choosing it, choosing to believe in it, choosing to focus on it more than you focus on your fear. That doesn't mean you won't be nervous or you won't be fearful or you won't be a little panicky. You might, but you're going to act as if you're already calm and confident, and you'd be amazed. If you reinforce the positives that happen in that presentation through that feedback that you give yourself before, during, and after the presentation, if you start visualizing the positives and you act as if, it will over time through repetition start to become true. These 3 steps are incredibly powerful. If you really purposely implement them, systematically implement them, they can transform your speaking from this moment on. It's in your hands because nobody can be there inside your body, inside your mind, in the moment when it's your opportunity to speak and be seen. So as a last inspiration, as we head into 2025, I hand these 3 steps to you as a gift. I hope they light you up and light a spark underneath of you to go out into the world and speak to inspire, to be inspired yourself, and to spread that inspiration through your voice out to everyone that hears you. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me. And I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you on the next episode.